Do you aim like this in Rivals? If that's you, don't worry, because I'm going to be showing you many tips and tricks to make sure that you get the perfect aim in Roblox Rivals. Let's begin. Alright, so so first, settings in Crosshair. First up, I'll go with settings. I'll go over these really quickly since most of this is just preferences. These are for performance. Turn these two on and it makes your game run smoother. Sensitivity, we'll get back to that. These are all preferences. Field of view should be definitely max, which is 120, because it makes it so that you can see more on the sides of your screen. Gameplay effects, all of this is preference, I'm not sure. Camera shake, I should probably turn this off. And then it's still all preferences. I would recommend turning on dark blinds because if it's white, when you get flashbanged, if it's white, it just blinds you. Audio, this is all 100% up to you. I like my music volume like 10-20%, but since I'm making a video, I don't really do the music. Game is where it starts to get a little less preference. You should probably have these same settings as me. You should probably copy these settings too. All of these. These are for mobiles, so I'm not really going to go over them because I don't really know about them. And I'm not sure about this. Alright, Crosshair is really important. So here's why. If you have it disabled, you're going to have to rely on looking in the middle of your screen. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Like all the pros do that, but I wouldn't recommend that to start. Here I would actually recommend something not too big, because if it's too big, it blocks like everything in the center of your screen. But if it's too small, you're not going to see it. I think what I have is a perfect size because you can put it over someone's head and then you can accurately aim on their head and use it to like go tracking on the person. And it doesn't cover up too much of their head, so you can still see when it's on their head, but it doesn't blockade the whole thing, and you can still shoot perfectly fine, and it won't distract you when you're running around. So if you would like, I'm just gonna very slowly roll my mouse down, and you can copy the settings. Alright, so those are all my settings. I just personally like this crosshair. You can change it to whatever you want, but make sure it's not too big or too small. And if it's disabled, that means you're like really pro. And it all comes down to preference, really. So also, one thing about the color, if it's blue, it kind of blends in with the dot, and it just like you can't see it as well. And green's okay, but I think red's best. Anyways, also hotkeys, these are just 100% personal preference, and I'll go on to the next tip. If you've watched this far, please like and subscribe because it helps me a lot and it's free. Thank you, and let's get back to the video. Alright, so on to the second thing. This is tracking. Tracking is basically when you move, let's say, side to side, you keep your mouse over the dummy. So like, if you're like shooting straight at them and then you move to the right, your crosshair, which is the thing I just talked about in the last tip, it's not going to be on that person anymore, so you're going to miss that. And this is really important when you're moving, because you have to keep your mouse on them at all times in order for the shot to actually go through them. Or if they're moving, I don't think there's an example here, but let's just say they're moving, they'll have to be moving around and you'll have to track them like that. Tracking comes with a lot of practice, but really sensitivity matters a lot for this, which is a later tip. For tracking, you kind of want to practice a little bit. Like, you can just be side to side, just trying to shoot the dummy. And also, it's better if you get headshots. I know this is very basic, but headshots actually make it so you don't have to track as long, aka making it so that you can easily kill them. And we're gonna go next to sensitivity. Sensitivity is probably the most important thing, although it is up to preference. It's basically, sensitivity is how fast your mouse moves. So for example, if I'm moving my mouse and let's say it's going across like my desk, it's going across the whole desk in one swipe, and it only goes like this far, from here to here, right? That is like a low sensitivity. And a higher sensitivity would be just doing it's what I have. It's a higher sensitivity would be just having your mouse, only flicking it a little, and you can do like a 360, like let me just try. And I only move my mouse a little bit from that. Sensitivity is mostly up to preference, but personally I like to use a really fast sensitivity, since if someone's like shooting at me, I can really snap at them. But another thing about fast sensitivity is it's really hard to control. So I recommend that you start somewhat slow, and if you like it, you can just stay at that. Although if you wanna, it might help you to improve if you have a slow sensitivity and then you gradually raise your sensitivity a little bit higher. So like one day you could have it this much, and then when you get used to that, it could be like this fast on a whole desk turn, and then this fast, and so on, until you're happy with your sensitivity. This also matters a lot because it can help with your tracking. Like, it depends if you just barely move your mouse, or if you move your mouse a whole lot just to track on like one of these dummies. And sensitivity is pretty simple. I'll show you where to change it next. Alright, so where to change your sensitivity, you're gonna want to press this top right settings icon, then press that once again, then go to video, and then in sensitivity it's here. So if you go to a low sensitivity, you're gonna have to move your mouse more for your crosshair and your like whole screen to turn. But if you have a higher sensitivity, then you can flick your mouse only a tiny bit, and your whole screen will move. So it basically just goes less movement it goes more movement from your mouse to change your screen, to a little less movement from your mouse to change your screen. There are also something that if you buy a mouse and it's like a good quality mouse, it usually has a website, and those have something called DPI. It's kind of the same thing as sensitivity, and in that app you can change it from there. That's what I've done, but again, I just recommend if you want it just in Rivals, you can change it just in Rivals.